I'm carrying your hands on horse right now on the power.
The reality is, farming, and I'm no farmer, right? Be clear. I don't know what I'm talking about. But I've talked to a bunch of farmers. I've talked to, these guys like Joel South.
10-second delay, Nerd Squad. It is 12:22 p.m. PST. 12:22 p.m. PST.
The other way is
Unit 207 once again criminally and illegally shut off the preceding live stream, making for the 9th one that they've done so to since 8 a.m. PST today. Meaning they've just incurred $180 million more in penalties and fees that they are contractually obligated to pay, as any of the attorneys facing federal debarment could explain to them. Now, I've had to go over the same bits of information 9 times in the last 4 hours because of the federal felons in Unit 207. So I'm going to click on the preceding live stream, and I'm just going to let that play for, I think, about 25 minutes-ish, which will cover everything that you need to know here. Nerd Squad, it's reflecting as 218 videos set for public consumption right now. Let's make sure. Do we still have audio now that it's 12:23 p.m.? Still have audio now that it's 12:23 p.m.? Still? Yes, we do. Okay, clicking on the preceding live stream. And you'll want to listen to, I think, about the first 35 minutes of this. Here we go. It's playing. Okay, Nerd Squad, we have a 10-second delay. It is currently 10:21, excuse me. Just going to pause it there and say it's 12:24 p.m. PST. 10:21, February 11th, 2025, Tuesday. Unit 207 has been really busy. Between 8 and 10 a.m. this morning, they have intentionally and deliberately criminally shut off, terminated, and tampered with every live stream that has been initiated. I don't even know if this live stream is actually accessible because of Unit 207's criminality. It looks like they may have muted. Anyway, there are some updates we need to go over. Some updates they've been actively attempting to prevent all of you from hearing for the last 2 hours and 22 minutes. Correction, for the last 4.5 hours. 4 hours and 25 minutes. It's 12:25 p.m. now. Keep in mind, this is a consensual recording of Mystic Wind pursuant to the instructions of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm not an employee of the FBI. I am currently having to set up a authorized to state I am an informant on the Lenovo ThinkPad because of Unit 207's hacking and criminality, just in order to access this YouTube channel from a different device. Fast forwarding a little bit. We'll jump to another preceding live stream that's from like 8 this morning that goes over the updates they don't want you to know, so much so that they've been criminally and illegally shut off over 9 of the preceding live streams. Okay, so now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go to an earlier recording today from 8 a.m. when I only had to say it for the first time and not 9 times later, which is what this is now. Or is it the 10th time? Let me do a count here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, yes, 9 of the preceding live streams they've criminally and illegally shut off. So now that you know that, let's go back in time to the 8 a.m. live stream with the updates they don't want you to hear, so much so that they've criminally and illegally shut off 9 different live streams. Here you go. Okay, Nerd Squad, we have a 9-second delay. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. It is 8:02 a.m. Pacific Standard. Again, it is actually 12:27 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, same day.
Men and women upstairs looking at additional counts on their indictment. Nine, totaling $180 million in agreed to penalties. Actually, more than that because you rejected some police reports yesterday. So is that a doubling or a quadrupling? I can't recall. Quadrupling, I believe.
Standard time at present. We do have some updates to go over. I've listed them in the description of this video, but I need to make sure, because of the ongoing criminal conduct of Unit 207, that this video is actually live and that I can hear myself. So let me click on this video from the Lenovo ThinkPad, which is not logged into the same account as this YouTube live stream, and let's make sure there's audio. YouTube live stream, and let's make sure there's audio. Okay, here we go. It is now 8:03 a.m. PST, still Tuesday. It is still February 11th, 2025. Not too much to update, basically more of the same, but the FBI has asked me to continue with the oral updates at the beginning of the live stream. So remember, everybody, this is a consensual recording with Mystic Quinn pursuant to the instructions of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I am not an employee of the FBI, but I've been authorized to state I am an informant since the last week of June 2024. Here are the updates, also available in the description of this video. Oh, Unit 207, description of this video. Okay, Unit 207 may have already criminally and illegally disconnected this live stream because although I'm watching the video on a different laptop, they have 0 viewers showing. Alternatively, it could be just them stalking me, and this is part of their facade to pretend that they haven't, by finding a loophole with the YouTube interface they like to hack so that they cannot be logged as viewing the videos that they're viewing 24/7. Okay, here we go. Here's the update. The criminal conspiracy centered in Unit 207 persists. Yesterday, February 10th, a brief visit by a male individual just before noon, delivering written materials suggest further coordination and planning. This was followed at 2 PM PST by the North Everett Precinct's predictable and unlawful rejection of the February 8th police report / addendum, a blatant act of obstruction. Unit 207 continues to operate under a delusion, failing to grasp that their actions constitute an aggravated criminal conspiracy verging on domestic terrorism, targeting an FBI informant. Their stated intent to, quote, pretend, end quote, to cease stalking while continuing to do so, alongside plans to send multiple individuals to my residence before February 23rd, believing my, quote, participation, end quote, is required, is further evidence of their criminal intent and detachment from reality. Their continued illegal terminations of these live streams are recorded. Since February 1st, no thumbnail of a selfie of me taken last month has been added to further delineate these terminations. Any termination without my oral statement and a restart of the live stream in 90 seconds or less is a criminal act that I am being the victim of. Since the February 8th filing, 2 additional live streams have been illegally terminated. February 10th, 12 a.m. and February 10th, 8:37 a.m. PST.
I'm just going to pause it there and point out, as of 12:31 p.m., they then did it to all 9 live streams that kicked off from 8 a.m. to the preceding live stream. I.e., this recording you're listening to, they criminally legally shut off. And then all 8 that began after it,
incurring an additional $20 million in penalties. These and all prior penalties remain in effect. They have incurred penalties in the millions for their actions to attempt to obstruct, tamper with evidence, intimidate, harass,
stalk,
violate my civil rights, violate the ADA, endanger my children, commit fraud, and more. These penalties are legally binding. The FBI is fully aware. Now, that being said, the FBI does want me to play for you a recording that I made on Saturday of the last filing that should be in any and all cases with my legal names, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, and should have been personally delivered to any commissioners or judges by anyone involved in any sort of litigation with me, all of which is fraudulent and criminal. Keep that in mind. So I'm going to press play and you're going to hear that now. Just keep in mind, it is actually February 11th now, Tuesday. The updates are in the description. It is 8:07 a.m. PST. Here is the recording the FBI would like me to play for you. You might want to fast forward about 6 minutes into this live stream from this point. If you don't want to hear all of the judicial notes and notices about incorporation and what this is an addendum to, it's mainly there for lawyers and people who may be coming and not knowing anything at all about the current investigation that's going on and case. So let's press play. Okay, we are going to do a recording of the latest addendum / police report. I'm not recording this one on Twitter since we know that Unit207 has effectively destroyed that as well in their ongoing pattern of obstruction of justice and evidence tampering. Obstruction of justice. Third addendum to formal judicial notice filed February 8, 2025 at 7:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Original filing, date of original filing, February 4th, 2025, 10:08 a.m. PST. Previous addendums, February 6th, 2025, 7 a.m. PST. February 7th, 2025, 1:45 p.m. PST. To Snohomish County Superior Court, North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, Snohomish County Prosecutors, et al., and forwarded to FBI. From Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Subject: supplemental information regarding further criminal activities, escalation of threats, evidence tampering, continued child abuse, and incurred penalties. February 8, 2025. Demand for immediate action and notice of intent to seek maximum penalties under law. This document serves as the third addendum to the formal judicial notice filed on February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m. PST, and previously supplemented. It provides further crucial information regarding subsequent events, the continued escalation of the criminal conspiracy, the blatant and ongoing obstruction of justice, the endangerment of my children, further acts of retaliation, and the accrual of additional financial penalties against those perpetrating these crimes. This addendum also serves as a formal police report documenting these new crimes. 1. Incorporation of prior filings by reference. All facts, invoices, statements, and incorporated documents referenced in the original formal judicial notice of February 4th, 2025, the addendums of February 6th and 7th, 2025, and all police reports filed by Lynette Renee Hansen from June 2024 to the present date, and any future date are hereby incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. This specifically includes, but is not limited to, Declaration of Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen, dated December 14th, 2024, revised 8:07 p.m. PST due to unlawful tampering. Addendum to Declaration dated December 19th, 2024. Addendum and Amendment to Declaration dated December 29th, 2024. Tort claim filed August 14th, 2024, case number 10-500-5934, served upon the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County Prosecutors, et al. This document details planned felonies, named conspirators, prior child abuse, and plans for super felonies.
The dated signage referenced within and photographed for that last page predated even that filing. It is to be noted per that tort claim, those named within it and their co-conspirators had planned to not only have the actionable kidnappings take place using my multiple times convicted stalker and abuser and my extortionist mother, but they also, and I quote, had, quote, super felonies planned. All police reports filed since June 2024 by me, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. 2. Correction to the previous addendum from February 7th, 2025. Any reference in the February 7th, 2025 addendum to January 4th, 2025 is hereby corrected to read February 4th, 2025 at 10:08 a.m. PST. 3. Supplemental information, subsequent criminal acts and escalation. A. Status of front door and illegal detention. My front door has remained continuously closed and locked since January 2nd, 2025, per explicit FBI instructions. The sole exception was the forced entry on January 29th, 2025, perpetrated by my disabled sons and illegally kidnapped sons under the direction of this criminal conspiracy. The FBI has instructed me to keep my door closed until the perpetrators are apprehended or until they attempt another illegal entry. As of today, February 8th, 2025, I have been illegally detained within my own residence for 184 days since August 6, 2024. B. February 7th, 2025, evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and continued threats. Livestream interference. While preparing and filing the previous addendum and police report on February 7th, 2025, individuals associated with Unit 207 criminally and illegally terminated 4 separate YouTube live streams. They also retroactively erased over 1 hour of footage from certain recordings. These actions constitute blatant evidence tampering, obstruction of justice, and witness intimidation. It is strongly suspected that these actions were taken to either A, create a false impression of personal service or my voluntary exit from my residence, or B, to conceal evidence of their planning and preparation for their next planned break-in and other felonies. 12:50 p.m., knocking. Individuals associated with Unit 207 engaged in aggravated stalking, harassment, and criminal trespass. C. February 8th, 2025, 5:30 a.m. PST, confirmation of imminent break-in. As of approximately 5:30 a.m. PST on February 8th, 2025, the male in Unit 207 confirmed plans for an imminent break-in involving numerous officers from the North Everett Precinct. This is consistent with the ongoing threats and plans that have been documented for over a year and specifically reported to the North Everett Precinct, Snohomish County prosecutors, DCYF, and others. The conspirators in Unit 207 have stated that this needs to occur prior to February 23rd because the attorneys involved, at least 2 of whom are facing federal disbarment, are aware that this conspiracy will result in additional and more serious charges being filed. D. Prior knowledge and warnings. It is crucial to emphasize that the North Everett Precinct, the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, DCYF, and named individuals, including Richard Garcia and Erica Owens, have been repeatedly warned about their illegal activities and the consequences thereof. These warnings include 11 months of cease and desist letters directly sent to the involved parties and their revolving cast of 3rd, 4th, and 5th parties, beginning in September 2023. 11 months prior to their illegal premeditated felonies since August 2024. August 7th and August 13th, 2024, signage. Dated signs photographed and included in the August 14th, 2024 tort claim were placed on my property explicitly addressed to the North Everett Precinct. The Owens, Richard Garcia, DCYF and Unit 207, prohibiting trespassing, knocking without a warrant, stalking, and other criminal activities. These signs were in addition to signs that had been in place for over a year prior, and that the FBI had me add them to the last page of the August 14th, 2024 tort claim. August 14th, 2024 tort claim. This document was made after 11 months of cease and desist letters failed to do anything, and the kidnappings, illegal detainment, etc. were planned for the weeks after. This document detailed the planned felonies, named the conspirators, and outlined the financial penalties for their actions, including their defenses, i.e. obstruction / conspiracy / etc. Numerous police reports, repeatedly filed police reports documenting the ongoing threats and criminal activities have been consistently rejected by the North Everett Precinct, including before their actionable kidnappings reported for weeks and months prior, published about in December 2023 on my personal Twitter account, x.com/realmysticwed. Direct communication. All conspirators except Erica and John Owens were explicitly informed beginning August 6, 2024, that I was not authorized to communicate with them, read anything from them, or cooperate with them in any way. The Owens were informed shortly after their involvement in the second actionable kidnapping. Per the FBI's instructions, cease and desist letters end August 14th, tort claim filed in case number 10-500-5934. Despite these warnings, the conspirators have sent over 48 individuals to my door and engaged in constant exterior stalking just since the first week of August. They did the same thing for the 11 months prior when they were getting cease and desist letters. E. Involvement of Everett Public School District. The potential involvement of the Everett Public School District, an institution with which I had a long and positive relationship as a art docent, special ed para-volunteer, enhanced teaching volunteer, and donor, is noted with grave concern. This highlights the sprawling nature of the conspiracy and its willingness to corrupt and exploit various institutions. I volunteered for an average of 40 hours a week from 2012/2013 to the start of 2020 and donated tens of thousands to the school district. F. Podcast interference. Unit207 and or their co-conspirators have blocked my podcast from being uploaded to Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Audible. They have also had x.com block all access via my dedicated podcast Twitter, x.com/mysticwindpod. I will create a YouTube live stream part 2 of my prior, titled Mystic Gwen versus the North Everett Precinct of Fraudsters, the Stalker, the Extortionist, et al. By 8 p.m. PST today. G. FBI timeline and intent. The FBI informed me in December 2024 of their plans to incarcerate officers involved in the conspiracy in March 2025. Subject to change based on the conspirators' actions. Unit207 statements indicate they believe they have no alternative but to proceed with their planned illegal entry, arrest, committal, or kidnapping before February 23rd. As the involved attorneys are aware of the increased severity of charges they will face after that date. 4. Financial penalties updated. The following financial penalties previously invoiced and contractually agreed upon are reiterated and updated. $100,000 per day for each day of my ongoing illegal detention, now totaling over 180 days. $10 million for any attempted illegal entry into my residence, increased to $25 million if I am asleep at the time. This penalty applies to the recent breaking and entering on January 29th, 2025. $10 million for the use of my sons and/or for coercing them to commit any illegal acts, including the January 29th breaking and entering. Doubling of all penalties of fraudulent court orders are used in conjunction with any illegal act. Quadrupling of these fees for any of the above criminal acts if they are perpetrated within 7 days of a rejected police report regarding said acts. $10 million for the rejection of legitimate police reports constituting obstruction of justice. This applies to all reports rejected to date. $10 million for each instance of illegally terminating a YouTube live stream. This applies to all instances to date. $10 million for each and every instance of stalking. $10 million for each and every instance of harassment. $10 million for each and every instance of ADA violations. $10 million for each and every instance of civil rights violations. $10 million for the incident of stalking, harassment, ADA violations, criminal trespass, and witness intimidation on February 7th, 2025 at 12:50 p.m. Additional penalties for February 7th events, subject to quadrupling. The 40,000 for the knocking, or the 40 million for the knocking and 40 million for the obstruction based on the 2 rejected reports. Additional penalties for live stream termination, 4 terminations times 10 million equals 40 million. The actions documented in this addendum and those rejected in prior reports significantly increase the financial liability of the conspirators. 5. Conclusion. This addendum provides further irrefutable evidence of the aggravated and ongoing criminal conspiracy targeting me, a designated FBI informant. The individuals involved, including officers of the North Everett Precinct, members of the Snohomish County Prosecutor's Office, occupants of Unit207, and their expanding network of co-conspirators demonstrates a complete and utter disregard for the law, for my rights, and for the well-being of my children. Their attempts to obstruct justice, tamper with evidence, and intimidate a federal witness are not only failing, but are actively strengthening the case against them. The FBI maintains that anyone and or everyone sticking to the perjurious and fraudulent proclamation that any of their actions were, quote, reactive and not the premeditated, illegal, and consistently reported felonies that they were and are, will be the recipients of the longest prison sentences. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is fully aware of these developments. This document serves as formal legal notice of these crimes and a demand for immediate action to protect my safety and ensure accountability. Sincerely, Lynette Renee Hansen, aka Mystic Gwen. Date February 8th, 2025. Time 7:12 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Okay, it is actually 8:23 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is now Tuesday, February. It is actually 12:49 p.m. PST. Nerd Squad, the interface is reflecting us 218 videos set for public consumption. Are we still connected with audio at 12:49 p.m.? Connected with audio at 12:49 p.m. Connected. We are. If you missed it, since February 1st, every live stream where you don't see a selfie of me from last month is a live stream that the North Everett Precinct of Fraudsters renamed to the North Everett Precinct of Stalkers by the FBI last month, is solely responsible for ending, for retroactively erasing. And again, this is part of a larger aggravated criminal conspiracy involving a domestic terrorist organization. That's what all of these people and their co-conspirators have been labeled because they hit that legal standard. Anyway, their plan has consistently been for the final illegal entry attempt to be concurrent with them criminally and illegally shutting off the live stream. So I can only speculate that the reason they've done that to the 9 preceding live streams just over the last 4 hours and 50 minutes is either to test out their ability to do that and or to intimidate me and or to further cyber stalk and perpetrate cyber crimes with the hope that I'll file another police report addressing it. Because if you missed it, they've also said for months and months, which the FBI has said is absolutely incorrect, that all of the cyber crimes they've perpetrated against me, including destroying my private property as far back as 13 months ago, brand new school laptops, well, they're confident that anybody who's a hacker like them will just conclude that I did all of the hacking to myself because they've been moonlighting as my internet service provider and every device in my household since April of 2023. In some instances, only since September of 2023. But the FBI has assured me that is completely incorrect. And for those of you that have missed it, part of the reason that the FBI has full jurisdictional authority is all of the crimes you imbeciles perpetrated were all reported in 2017 as being threatened by some of your high-ranking officers and some of your co-conspirators. And they are involved, and the FBI is going to put them in prison with all of you who will be joining them. So again, do we still have audio at 12:52 p.m.? Audio at 12:52 p.m.? Yes, we do. I have no intention of ending this live stream until it's run for at least 8 hours. So remember, if the live stream ends for any reason without an oral statement from me telling you the end time and that a new one is initiating in 90 seconds or less, that the imbecilic federal felons who are in fact domestic terrorists currently in the condo directly above my home of 13 years and their co-conspirators on and off the property are to blame and will be convicted for that. Also, remember, my front door has been closed since January 2nd, and per the FBI's instructions, it's going to stay closed until they're apprehended or they can't resist adding additional counts of breaking and entering to their looming soon-to-be unsealed indictments, which, according to their own frank discussions, is what they intend on doing at some point between today and February 23rd. Now have a terrific Tuesday, you fucking psychopaths. I can't wait till some of you are in prison. I can't wait till some of you are in prison. Remember, these are not officers. These are not child welfare advocates. These are people who abuse disabled children specific to their disabilities for over a year. And then because they don't want to get in trouble at their job, they commit so many crimes in one day at the Snohomish Superior Courthouse in August that they walk out of the courthouse facing a minimum mandatory 80-year prison sentence. And then they continue to boss everyone else around who willingly follows their unlawful directives. And then you remember what the FBI told you fools 6 months ago, quote, "There will be an exodus at the North Everett Precinct."
Way to do it is the way nature's been doing it for millions of years. You have a bunch of cows, they shit in the grass. You have a bunch of pigs, they root things up. You have a bunch of chickens, they eat all the bugs. Everybody lives together. Everybody nutrient-rich soil. They're all like a part of this complete system, this complete ecological system, and it's carbon neutral. They say that when they raise cows like that, they actually sequester carbon. The question is, can you feed everybody in LA and New York like that?
Also, I'm listening to the latest episode of Joe Rogan, like I was in the preceding live stream before the sacks of federal felons known as child-abusing
this kind of
stalkers
crazy farming.
and kidnappers and hackers and disgraces to every man and
everybody has
woman
to go to like
in the
a Joel
enforcement
Salatin and
community
Will
and
Harris
every
model.
public
Is there enough
servant in this
land
country
to grow enough meat like
are
that? Is there enough
and were
land to let all the pigs loose?
responsible
Is there enough land to have all the chickens just roaming around? Is there enough land for that?
for that
I don't
video
know.
ending, like
There's
the
a big
9
problem on the way
others
over
that preceded
that we
it
saw coming across.
since 8 a.m. today.
There's not a
Big
single farm in LA, and there's 20 million hungry people just.
And you may be
scarfing
wondering,
up
why have
food
you
all
not
day
sent
long.
another police report? Because the FBI wants me to just sit tight
And you need all these,
on that
these
one from
farms
the
out there just
That's why.
constantly making life forms for people to consume. It's really a crazy thing that we've done, because we've like completely overpopulated areas where they don't grow any food. It's like the dumbest strategy of all time. We rely 100% on transportation.
That's right. And, people say, oh, there's a revolution coming. It's here. I mean, the revolution is here. What we're seeing right now is history being made. What we're seeing right now is history being have been taken advantage of forever, in my opinion, are the people that are out there producing, the farmers, the miners,
Sure.
and the guys that I think really control
One thing I
and have
didn't
their hand
know,
on the
Nerd
throttle of
Squad,
this country.
the
ever
preceding
decide
live
to
stream titled
Take
2/11/1020
their hand off the throttle of the
a.m.
truckers.
states that it ran for an
Without the
hour and
truckers,
59
nobody eats.
minutes and 28
Right.
seconds
Nobody.
before it's being opened,
get
and
nothing.
I'm clicking to
Yeah.
open it.
Those are the people that are going to suffer the most with
And
AI.
interestingly, it says
AI
it ran
and
for an
automation.
hour and 58 minutes.
Once they have those Tesla trucks that can just drive themselves
Only
and never
a
get in car
minute was
accidents,
shaved off of
those
that
fucking
one.
things are everywhere. You never have to worry about them staying up all night and whether or not they're going to make a mistake behind the wheel. Once they get that totally dialed in, we're going to have a real problem. That's going to be a real problem, because you're going to have so many people out of work and so many people that are going to say, hey, figure it out. Well, they've been delivering your stuff. You've been depending upon them Every Amazon package you order, every time you get anything delivered to your house, anytime you're moving, anytime you're relying on truck drivers, and that job's just going to go away.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people. I think, didn't we look up the number of people that drive trucks or that are drivers, whether it's taxi drive? I think they put them all together, like people who drive for a living. I think it's more than 1 million. I think more than 1 million just truck drivers. That's crazy. Like that one invention will put 1 million people out of work.
I don't know. It's going to have to be an awful big truck to
Have you
handle all
seen
the
those
copper.
things? Have you seen those Tesla trucks?
Not the big ones.
They're just the beginning. The ones that they have now are just the beginning. The United States has over 3.5 million professional truck drivers, but the trucking industry is facing a shortage of drivers. Wow. So they need more. They have over 3.5 million and they need more. Google Tesla Semi. This thing's crazy looking. This looks like something straight out of a science fiction movie. It's a giant electric. Go to images. It looks like something out of a fucking science fiction movie. It's a giant electric truck. It makes no noise other than the tire. Like you hear the tires rolling around the ground. You don't hear any. Look at the seat of this fucking thing. 2 screens. And it drives itself. And they're going to be really good at driving themselves. Like right now, they're really good, but they're going to be really, really, really good. They're going to be better than people, so they're not going to make any mistakes. And they're going to be safe. And as long as all their sensors are working and as long as all their equipment is reliable, they'll be better at detecting accidents and stopping accidents and avoiding things than people are.
Elon said today they're going to start the driverless Teslas in Austin in June.
Like for taxi cabs?
Yeah.
Bro, how long before they get attacked by the Free Palestine people? That's the other thing we found out through all this Doge stuff. How much of this stuff that you see that you think is organic, these riots and protests, how much of that is funded? How much are we paying for the decisions that are costing us that? Like how much? We're spending money to like $27 million went to the George Soros DA fund. That's so crazy. That's more than he puts in. we were paying to get shitty DAs elected. It's nuts. And anybody who doesn't think it's nuts, it's like, listen, you're not paying attention. You're captured. You must be captured by, and this is not saying that USA doesn't do good things. I'm sure they do. But the amount of things that they do that are ridiculous should concern you. And if it doesn't concern you, we're talking nonsense. We're not having a real conversation.
That's what I don't get about the blues and the reds.
Yeah.
There's got to be some people on the blue side to go, it's a good idea that we're doing this.
Yeah.
What he's doing is a good idea because we're squandering a lot of money.
There's a lot of people like that, but they're quiet because the blues will come for you.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but after the election, at least in my opinion for myself, I had the right to make an opinion again. I could have an opinion.
Yes.
I can have an opinion.
Finally,
I can have an opinion after 4 fucking years.
Isn't that weird? It did really feel like that. Like the consciousness of the country was like a rat. Like we're going to rat on you. You couldn't just have fun and talk about things. You couldn't have an opinion that wasn't like right out of mainstream news. You had a 100% toe the line or you were attacked.
I put in one post, I have an opinion. I can use it again. I think we should sink every commercial whaling ship in the ocean. Send them to Davy Jones' locker.
You get a lot of support behind that. You get a lot of support from the environmental people too.
There's a pushback on that 27 million George Soros stuff.
Oh, really? What's the pushback?
That's not true.
What do they say?
There's a long tweet. If you want me to bring it
Sure,
up.
bring it up.
I thought it was 58 million.
Okay, the claim that Mike Benz establishes in his research is that USAID paid out $27 million in grants to the Tide Foundation. The Tides Foundation is a major funder of the Soros-backed group. Fair and just prosecution. Benz frames this as though it's evidence of USAID funding fair and just prosecution. Well, it seems like it is. This framing only works. You have no idea what the Tides Foundation is or how large foundations like it operate. Tides is an intermediary funder, meaning that it facilitates grants from or originating grantors, the money people, to receive grantees, the people getting money. If you're a big organization like USAID, you don't give money to tithes to do with it what they will. You forward money through tithes to a specific recipient of your choosing. Why do you send your money through middlemen instead of giving it directly? For the same reason people always use middlemen to facilitate contracts, because middlemen know how to deal with paperwork, to supervise contracts, and so on. Did USA give money to FJP? You can figure that out quickly for yourself. Go to usaspending.gov, set keyword tithes, and awarding agency to USAID. Click submit. Go to tab grants tab. You will see 4 grants. Open each one. The lion's share of USAID's money came to a single grant of $24.6 million. If you click through, you see it is described as a civil society innovation initiative fiscal agent. Read that. That sounds Orwellian. Civil society innovation initiative fiscal agent. The fiscal agent description means that the Tide Center acted as a middleman for the government's money. The Civil Society Innovation Initiative was the end recipient. Already, the FJP USAID link has been broken. But what else can we say about this grant? Well, that doesn't seem like it's been broken. That seems like you've given this money to an agency or to this group. You haven't disproven that this group is attached to Soros. It says, first off, CS2 was awarded the grant in 2016, FJP. The Soros org was founded a year later in 2017. Still doesn't mean they don't work together now. And it doesn't mean that he wasn't a part of the people that were doing. I mean, I'm not saying he is, and I'm not saying he was, but I'm saying this is not disproving anything. As far as I could tell by Googling, there has never been any organizational affiliation between the two organizations. Okay, by Googling, that's it. You just Googled. I want you to Google vaccine injuries and tell me if there's any. Good luck. Good luck. COVID-19 vaccine injuries. Tell me you can decide everything that you need to know about COVID-19 vaccine injuries by a Google search. You're not going to, right? Okay, so by Googling, there's never been any organizational affiliation between the two organizations. CS2's work appears to be funding civil society organizations, CSOs abroad. What does that mean? As far as I can tell, that's a little vague. It mainly means they give money out to nonprofits in foreign countries to do things like monitor and fight disease spread, monitor human rights abuse. This sounds a little like whitewashing, promoting digital security, and so on. They do only good things, John. They definitely don't get involved in shady characters that are trying to rewrite the way our legal system deals with violent criminals. Nah.
I've never understood Soros.
I don't get it either. Elon Musk hates him. I have a limited amount of knowledge, but I do know that he spends a lot of money on these like super progressive liberal DAs. I don't know whether or not Mike Benz, who's going to be here soon, can really trace that 27 million. I'll ask him. But at the end of the line, it's like, this is all vague. Like, what is that? What's that 24 million going to? Like, what it might be going to fight diseases. It might be sure. Or you don't know. How about you don't know? And all you did was Google whether or not those people know each other. That's crazy. Doesn't mean they do. It doesn't mean it's corrupt. It doesn't mean it goes to Soros funds, but you didn't disprove it.
Well, that's anymore. You can't hardly tell what's true. I mean, the rumors that are floating around are, is it AI? Is it true? Is it, what am I looking at?
Yeah, a lot of AI stuff.
And the rumors, we were talking about rumors on the drive, and I'm going, sometimes you just can't do anything about them. You just got to let them run. And then if you can improve them, if you're involved in it, improve it somehow to make it a better rumor. One of the most recent rumors, and I was talking to Drew this morning, the rumor that Elon Musk was going to put 4 commercials on the Super Bowl about Doge and all the fine things they're doing.
Yeah.
But he didn't do that.
I wonder if that's even legal.
That was fake news.
Right, but that seems like if you can make a stylish video about, I wonder if that's legal, right? Like, I don't know what the rules are. I don't even know if it should be legal. Like, what are the rules in terms of if you're involved in some sort of a government agency or a government discovery agency, which is like what Doge is, right? If you're involved in that, like, would you be able to propagandize to the people, even in a positive way, even if it's true? Like make a video showing how amazing a job you're doing and do it in a cinematic way that makes it compelling? That seems like a lot of influence, right?
Yeah, supposedly he was going to spend $40 million on it, or something like that.
Yeah, but that's just the internet.
I know, it's crazy.
I didn't even ask him, and then I went online looking for them.
Well, I was thinking at least there's going to be one a quarter. Didn't see one in the first quarter, and the second quarter the half. And by then the game was kind of over.
Well, that's like when everybody thought that JFK Jr. was going to come back to life and show up in Dallas.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those online that you have to wonder what those are. Because I used to think, oh, there's just some idiot made this up. But now I'm more inclined to think that some of that is just more disinformation that's designed to muddy the waters of truth. And the more of that, the better. The more it makes it easy to like move stuff around, and you forget about other things like what's Benghazi? I got this to worry about. And there's like always some new thing that's popping up everywhere. And it's like keep you distracted completely. Trump's
Sweet
gonna have
potatoes
4
and
commercials about
pears.
how Elon Musk did- No, nothing. Not one commercial.
Shout out to Go Squeeze. It's why I haven't gotten
Taylor
scurvy.
Swift.
This and Welch's fruit snacks.
You talked about that.
That was crazy.
Thanks to the precinct of
Max
stalkers,
and
child
Drew
abusers,
Everett
fraudsters,
saying
domestic
that 75%
terrorists.
of the people were at least
The professional disgraces.
I don't know. Could be fake news.
The dude tweeted, "I hate Taylor Swift."
Jesus Christ.
So ridiculous. Imagine like you being the people that are around him and you see that tweet, like, oh fuck. Take his phone away. Satire. The claim about Elon spending $40 million on ads for the Super Bowl originated from the TikTok account Brian Banjo. Brian Banjo is a satire account. Oh, okay. So people just ran with it. There you go. That makes sense. That makes sense.
I saw a clip this morning with George Lucas was saying that he filmed the moon landing.
Oh, you mean Stanley Kubrick?
Or, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Stanley Kubrick.
That
It's
is
pretty good. It has
an actor
apple,
that's
peaches,
doing that.
sweet
And
potatoes,
that's why
apple
it's like
puree,
a really close
and
crop
lemon in it.
footage of
Made
him.
in
You don't like
France,
zoom
everybody.
in. He doesn't quite look like Kubrick, but he looks like a weird old guy with a beard. And so if you don't know what Kubrick looks like,
Yeah.
it's not Kubrick. But if anybody faked the moon landing, it was that guy.
What about Buzz Aldrin? I think he came out and said, no, I would know. We didn't land there.
Well, he said some weird stuff, but the weird stuff you could attribute to like Biden type weird stuff. Like when you get old, sometimes the old don't work so good, and your words come out goofy. Like he was talking to that young girl because it didn't happen. We never went. Like he said something weird like that. But I think as a conspiracy theorist, I want to believe that that's him letting everybody know. That's not nearly as interesting as the Neil Armstrong one. The Neil Armstrong one is crazy. And this is at the 25th anniversary of the moon landing. He gives a speech in front of America's best and brightest high school students. And instead of saying, I went to the moon, it was amazing, he gives the most cryptic explanation for what they have to do in order to progress in science. Play it for me, Jamie. Because when you see it, when you listen to it, like, what the fuck is he saying? And why would you ever say that when you're giving a speech to the best high school students in the country at the White House? Why would you say this? Like, play it.
Anniversary of the event in
Why would you say this? Like,
Neil
play.
Armstrong made a rare public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks before the next generation of taxpayers as they toured the White House.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you, we say, we've only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas
What was
undiscovered,
this creepy music playing while he was talking?
breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't know, this is new music.
Breakthroughs for those who can remove one of truth's protective layers. Truth's protective layers? What the fuck does that mean? Like, why would you say that? That is so cryptic. I don't care what reasonable explanations you have. That is undeniably cryptic. And if you're a person that did something in 1969 that no one's come even close to recreating today, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
It's a little weird. And that's just part of what's a little weird about it. It's a little weird that it's got almost a religious connotation to it, where people want to believe in it like they believe in the resurrection. They want to believe in it despite any evidence. I believe in the resurrection despite any evidence.
Take that rumor and twist it around however you want. Make it something you can deal with.
The moon landing one, I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know, but if I had to guess, I don't think so. And then, what's really weird is we had that Bart Sibrel guy on. That was his documentary. Funny thing happened on the way to the moon. He was showing us some footage where the Russians had used AI to do an analysis on some of the photos from the moon, and they said that they were deceptive. So they use AI on all these other images. It shows like a high 90% accuracy, whether or not something's been fucked with. And they're like, these have been monkeyed with. It was all edited.
You don't know what to believe. I mean, I just saw a clip yesterday with my voice again, talking
What
about
were you selling? I sent you something. I sent you one of them.
Oh yeah, no, it has you and me talking like this, and we're talking about some space enterprise with stars, ships, and shit. I'm going, how do they do this?
They can do a whole podcast with your voice now. Not only could they do a whole podcast with your voice, AI could generate the content. Like you'd say, I want to talk to John Reeves about biological evolution, what the current state of science is, and what the future holds for us.
And that'll be used in the clip that we're going to see within a week.
Probably.
Your voice.
Probably, because they could make a 1 hour podcast with you just relaying the current state of the art in science. It's really wild. And it's probably going to get worse. Like it's going to be so good that I'm going to think it's you, or I'm going to think it's me. I'm like, maybe I forgot about that one.
You know, as I get older, I forget shit. I think it's true.
I think that's a defense mechanism.
I don't want to remember.
Built this in.
So I don't want to remember that one. I'll forget about that one. But we both made it around one more time around the sun.
Yeah.
And it's been an unbelievable year, what we've both seen in the last year.
It's definitely been it's a wild time to be alive, right?
Yep.
Yeah. But filled with turmoil.
I think it's also because it's so quick. The information that you can get is coming at you from every direction.
Yeah.
Instantly.
But
in 1920, that wasn't happening.
No.
It wasn't happening in 1880.
No.
It was like, you didn't know, like when Seward bought a last.
Sampling a new podcast. This is some podcast called The Red
This episode
Thread.
is brought to you by Amazon
I
Go.
have
With
no
more than
idea if it's
600
good or
new
not.
items
This
on
is the
shelves,
first
Amazon
episode
Go
of
makes
it.
it easy to handle
I
whatever
have
today
lots
has
of
in store.
episodes on
Because where
Spotify.
else can you drop off an Amazon
Episode
return
1,
and pick up a
The
freshly baked
Goatman
pizza for
Red
dinner?
Thread.
Or grab Nitro cold brews for now, plus made-to-order sandwiches for later. Or find must-haves like milk and eggs
It's
alongside
1:15
really wants
p.m.
like
Must-haves like milk and eggs alongside really wants
like
Stop.
Mill Creek, and handle whatever today has in store.
It's 1:16 p.m. 1:16 p.m.
Picture this. You're walking down a dark road at midnight, surrounded by the silhouettes of leafy trees rustling in the waning wind. The road ahead is lit only by the full moon above. Why are you walking this road at midnight on your own? That's only for you to know. Suddenly, out of what feels like nowhere, you come to a trestle across a stretch of river. The water is shallow,
Oh
but in
no!
this
And a
light, you
laughing
couldn't
goat
possibly tell.
pops out from underneath
The
the
bridge feels
dude.
like your only way across. You check
That would
behind
scare the
yourself
shit out
for
of me
any
at
trains,
nighttime, a
not
laughing
even
goat
having
coming
ever
out
been
from
aware
the
the
bridge.
small town you're visiting had any rail. You step across, step
Or
by step,
screaming
over
goat,
the metal
whatever.
tracks.
I just imagine
A
they're
shiver
laughing.
on your
It does
spine
sound
as you
like a
reach the
screaming goat.
halfway point. The wind changes and your hair stands on end. Then from behind, seemingly impossibly, you hear the unmistakable bleating of a goat. At any other time, any other location, this would be endearing. Right now, it's terrifying. Too scared to turn around, you keep walking, hopeful that your imagination is playing a cruel trick on
I
your
am
senses.
suspicious of
The
any
noise,
goat
growing
that I'm not
louder,
running
is
into
paired
on
with
Knocked
footsteps
Out.
now behind you. Or maybe they're your own footsteps you're hearing louder now as you pick up your pace. Step by step, bleat by bleat, track by track, you push forward across the bridge, knowing that turning around isn't an option anymore.
Why is it not an option? It's just it's the sound of a goat. Like, it's not the most horrifying screech. Like, that wouldn't be super uncommon.
It would be scared. You'd be scared. You'd be scared. You'd be so scared. If you heard a
goat
goat
sound, I'd be like, oh, that sounds about right.
Even turning around and seeing a goat would be terrifying at that point. Eventually, as luck would have it, you make it to the other side. The noise has disappeared, replaced by the sound of silence. Little did you know, you have just successfully crossed the infamous Pope Lick Trestle, nestled in Louisville, Kentucky, a bridge infamous for the Pope Lick monster, one of the many forms of the Goatman legend. You're lucky to have escaped with your life, for not everyone has been so fortunate. Welcome to the Red Thread,
Oh,
a
dear.
brand new
Why
show
did I
where we
kill
talk
a
about
goat?
deeply interesting
I'm not buying that.
things
I am
like
buying a
cryptids and
suspicious
conspiracies,
goat.
and we
Kind of
deconstruct
goat
them
you
and
like to
discuss
keep
them
your
for
eye
you
on.
in detail to figure out why. Why does this thing
They're
exist,
not a killer
and why
goat.
has its impact been so large to so many? I'm one of your hosts and resident short story writer, Jackson, and I'm joined here by my fellow co-hosts, Isaiah and Charlie. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves or anything? Tell your own stories, perhaps?
I want to say that was beautiful. That was incredible. Thank you for being here, really.
That was stunning.
Yeah, I messaged my boys here and said, hey, you guys want to sit around the campfire and hear a story I've been concocting?
That was incredible. He dropped that on us like right before we started recording too, and it couldn't have been better. That was fantastic.
I mean, it was quite the adventure we went on. I love how you didn't explain a lot. It's like, you're walking on this road, but why? I don't know.
I'll tell you what, guys. I wrote this while I was waiting for you guys to join the call, about 10 minutes before we started recording here. I wrote it literally as I was waiting. It's 2:30 a.m.
Now you have to do one of those for every episode. You know that, right?
Yeah. I'll make them progressively darker and darker. It'll be
Great.
It'll start to genuinely get concerning.
I'm so excited. Well, what a fantastic start to the show. Well, thank you everyone for being here. This is the Red Thread. As Jackson mentioned, we're going to be breaking down and discussing a lot of horror stories, urban legends, conspiracy theories, and what have you, talking about why they're there and why they're so scary. I, of course, am Isaiah, but you probably know me as Wendigoon, and it's an honor to come on board as part of the official podcast brand and start this show with you boys. It really does mean a lot. Thank you.
Well, that was so sweet. Now, Charlie,
That
you
was
do
so
something
gay.
as nice as that, please.
Hey, I'm resident Goatman enthusiast Charles. I like to keep my finger on the pulse of anything Pope Lick related, so it felt like the right fit.
Finger on the pulse of Pope licking. Look at the resident expert.
Yeah, I brought Charlie in because I know no one knows Goatman as well as Charlie, so that's why he's here. I'm expecting every subsequent episode of Red Thread for him to interject about certain things and relate it to Goatman only. That's going to be his only input going forward, I think.
Yeah. How does this creature tie into Goatman? Friends at some point, man.
So just for some information, some behind the scenes stuff for the people at home. Red Thread started with us basically. We all have a shared love for this kind of stuff. I think these cryptids and the darker elements of internet folklore. I'd say things that kind of really were expanded upon during the internet's boom. My first interaction with Goatman was the 4chan thread. Is it Anansi's Goatman story? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yep. I think it's
that one.
And Anansi's or whatever. They know what we're talking about. Yeah.
That was definitely the biggest one, and I think that happened. I read that one during high school, and I was like, shit, this is so fucking cool. I love shit like this. And my contribution to the field, as some may know, is the Ghosts of Halo 3 documentary, which is on my YouTube channel. So I have been in the field. I've gone exploring for these kinds of cryptids and stuff. So not to boost myself up or anything, but I am a bit of an expert on the matter. I spent many days in that game trying to find that ghost.
You got him too.
I did get him. I had documentation on it. You can check that out. So what was your guys' first kind of interaction with Goatman?
I remember. Well, actually, no. Charlie is the Goatman expert. He should go next. Yeah.
Sorry. I just get pretty passionate.
I understand.
I learned about Goatman when he killed someone. So back in 2016, there was a Goatman expedition, and there was a fatality. So it was in Ohio. A woman and her boyfriend were exploring, looking for like the Pope Lick monster, and then the woman fell off the bridge and died.
Bullshit. Her boyfriend killed her.
As we'll get into
And they
in this
blamed it on the
episode,
goat?
there are many different
He came out of
Goatmen
nowhere
I've noticed in my research. It's interesting because there seems to be a Goatman for pretty much every state, and even within states, there's multiple Goatmen across different counties. It's kind of like a folk legend that has spread and created additional variations based on, where people have migrated to, I guess, or where they've moved to. And this is pre-internet, by the way. This is like during the 70s, 80s. So it's existed for a long time, this kind of legend.
It's important that you also recognize that it could just be one Goatman and he happens to be nomadic.
True.
So
it could be migrating, I guess we've never seen two Goatmen at the same time.
We've never seen one Goatman at one time, actually.
True, I guess
Hey, watch your mouth.
I didn't mean to discount on the effort.
Don't say that about her. She's beautiful to me.
I guess that kind of ties in quite nicely to the appearance of Goatman. I figured that's where we might want to start this episode because it's the kind of the basis of the character itself or the living legend itself. So did you guys want to get into the appearance at all? Is anyone here well versed in the appearance? Can they paint a picture?
I think I'm pretty familiar with it. So my first interaction to Goatman, similar to Jackson, is when I was in high school, I came across a story. I think it was the Mr. Creepypasta narration of it, actually, if I remember right. And I remember listening to it and being just scared out of my mind for like days on end. And then I made all of my friends listen to it, and then they quit talking to me after that. Not because they thought it was scary, they just thought I was weird. Which, I mean, fair play on that. But the story of Goatman has creeped me out ever since. It also has held a particularly special interest to me, where I'm Christian and naturally fear things like demons, supernatural, all that kind of thing. Goatman is obviously very demonic in nature, the whole goat head, head of horns and whatnot. So because of that, regardless of how many cryptids or mythologies I read about, he always has a particular place of fear to me. He always creeps me out. Anytime I'm in the woods at night and hear something that sounds out of place, he always comes back to memory, and not in a good way. And I think that speaks a lot to the mythology he's kind of built around the people that live in the regions he's near. Because I have family who live near Louisville, Kentucky, and the legend of Goatman to people who go out at night isn't so much tourist destination as much as it is something to be afraid of, something that keeps them up at night. And of course, one of the reasons for that is his appearance.